guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so nervous. It's been ages since I've made a video where it's just me talking into a camera about like a taboo or uncomfortable subject, and I don't know, I think I'm maybe just a little bit scared of like the reaction it will get. Before I say anything, I just wanted to make it clear that anybody can struggle with self-worth. It doesn't matter what you look like or how smart you are or how funny you are. You might look at someone and see perfection, but that person might not feel like that. It's very easy to disregard someone's feelings based on your opinion of them from an outside perspective. When I first kind of decided that I actually wanted to do something about how I felt about myself, I tried to figure out where the root of the problem came from, which is obviously very difficult. I feel like there's so many aspects that come into it. I think when I started secondary school, obviously you start mixing with all different people, like it's very different to primary school. I was surrounded by people who were in much better financial situations than what I was in at home, and I think I subconsciously started acting a certain way around like my new social environment that made me feel like I fit in. It created a bit of an identity crisis in me because I was a completely different person at home than I was in school, and I was kind of spreading myself so far and acting accordingly to who I was with that I lost track of like who I was as a person, and I stopped focusing on what made me happy and started trying to make other people happy. Another big factor was when I started secondary school, so in year 7, I had like my first crush on a boy, and I think for the first time ever I started to like want to look pretty or like be attractive, whatever that is at that age. That is where things started to kind of go wrong, because I started to care more about what other people thought than what I thought about myself. What started to happen was where I was so self-conscious of my financial position, like at home, I started to be really embarrassed of my family, and obviously being embarrassed of my family is being embarrassed of myself, and it reflected on like what I thought of myself without me even realizing it. Rather than embracing where I come from, and like I love my family to death, but rather than focusing on that, I was so focused on what I didn't have, and I think it started to develop into a self-hatred because I felt like I wasn't as good as the people I was around. Not in a physical way or hating what I look like or anything like that, but in the sense of like who I was as a person, where I came from, my background. I started to really despise it. The physical side of it, so my appearance obviously came in, because even if it's subconscious, if you're constantly comparing yourself to the people around you and wanting to be like them, then you're going to be comparing yourself as a whole, not just your personality or not just your physical appearance. It's going to be both. As much as like your personality and who you are as a person means so much, I think when you start to hate your physical appearance, it's very hard to be happy. I started to feel like I needed to look like the people around me, so I would make physical changes. So for example, my hair, I have really curly hair naturally, but I felt like that wasn't pretty, that wasn't beautiful. I needed to change that, and I did, which is why my hair is like this now. It's like, how much are you willing to do? And especially if it's not to please yourself. I think if it's to do with yourself and how you feel and what you want to do, then fine. But when it's to please other people, it becomes very dangerous. When I was 15, my family lost our house, and I felt like for the first time ever, there was nothing I could do to hide what I was really like and like where I came from, and I just kind of gave up, in the sense of my secret is out and now there's nothing I can do apart from just be depressed and hate myself. Being in that mindset and feeling like I was stuck and I couldn't work on myself as a person because I would never ever be superior or the same as the people around me was the most toxic thing I've ever done, because I never wanted to heal. I didn't admit that I needed to heal or that there was anything to change about me. I just thought, this is my life. And I started to just kind of let anxiety and self-hate consume me, to the point where it's like I couldn't leave my house without feeling like everybody was judging me or everybody had an opinion on me. I feel like I made so many mistakes when I was a teenager that have carried on over to like my adult life now. It goes all the way up until I had Noah, and I neglected my body so much because I just hated everything about myself and everything about the situation I was in. And again, stopped eating, and I was so slim. I mean, there's a video from when I was pregnant. I didn't take much pictures at all, but there's one video and I was 6 months pregnant, and my legs are slimmer than they have ever been in my whole life. And again, there is nothing wrong with that, but for me, it's unhealthy. It's not my natural build, and I was 6 months pregnant. So for me, like, I can't look at that video without crying my eyes out, because I can see like how my emotional state is affecting my physical state and how that affects my emotional state, and I'm just stuck in this vicious cycle of just toxicity. Anyway, I know it's not extremely helpful or encouraging if I talk about all the horrible places I've been in my life and like how badly I've suffered with anxiety and suffered with self-hate. I'd rather just speak about how I've been growing and what I've been doing to make myself feel better and to fall in love with myself, because I never ever thought it was possible, but I'm starting to genuinely believe that I can. I've come so far, and I just wanted to share with you like some of the main things that I've done to get to where I am now. I'm going to talk about 6 things that I feel like are significant to what have helped me. The first one was minimising my social circle. When I had no eye, I moved to the other side of London than where I grew up in, and naturally I cut ties with quite a few people. Not even to say that those people were negative or ever did anything to me, it was more just a sense of I had more time to focus on myself and less time to distract myself with like social environments or social situations, and so I could reflect on how I actually felt, and also just surround myself with people who I knew were in my life for 100% the right reasons. The second thing was speaking to someone. For me personally, and I know I've said this before, therapy isn't my go-to. I don't find it to be extremely helpful, but when I say speak to someone, I mean whoever you feel comfortable speaking to, whether it's a friend or a family member, a therapist, a counsellor, whoever you want to speak to. It's just so important to actually articulate how you feel so that you're admitting it to yourself out loud. Another thing that I think is really helpful if you don't want to speak to someone is to write it down. I know it might sound a bit mad, but there's just something about speaking about something or writing it down, like rather than just thinking about it. I think when you think about it, it's easy to just push it away. But when you actually lay it out in one of those 2 ways, it's just different. And I think it's a step in the right direction to loving yourself and to becoming more confident. The third thing was focusing on my personality as opposed to my appearance. I feel like it's really easy to beat yourself up when it comes to your appearance, but with your personality, if you focus on the things that you don't like about yourself, it's easier to try and change them. For me, there was a couple that I tried really hard to change. I'll give you like a couple of examples. So I'm naturally really lazy and really demotivated. I forced myself to have like some kind of get up and go, to give myself a routine, to get up, shower, make breakfast, like go out for a walk every day, exercise. As hard as it was, it took one of the things I hate most about myself and changed it, and I started to feel a little better. Another one, I was a massive pessimist. I never ever looked on the like positive side of life, and I wrote down a big list of, well, a small list of all the things I was grateful for and like all the positive aspects of my life and everything I had to be thankful for. And I just said, okay, so I'm going to focus on these things solely and do everything I can to flip a negative into a positive. So if I was upset about something, or if something was getting me down, I'd think about the positive side of it. There's always a positive side, and I never used to believe this, but you can always find a positive side to something. It's just whether you let yourself actually believe that there is one. It's obviously a lot of pretending and a lot of forcing emotions that are really not there, but once you do that, it does just turn into reality. It really does. I never used to believe it when people said that to me, like force something until it becomes true, but you can force it until you make it your reality, and then because it's personality traits of your own that bring you down and make you feel bad about yourself, once they're changed, obviously you're going to start to feel better and you're going to start to love yourself a little bit more, because you don't have those things that you hated so much about yourself anymore. And once you've done that, you can focus more on your appearance, which is the fourth thing that I'd done, and not in the way that you're probably thinking. I had a very big reliance on makeup, on fake eyelashes, fake nails, getting my eyebrows done, getting my hair done. And as much as those things are great and amazing, I love being able to dress up, it makes me feel good. But there's a difference between it making you feel good and you relying on it to be comfortable and be happy. I couldn't go to the shop without wearing makeup, and if I did, I felt terrible. I have lockdown to thank for this, because if it wasn't for lockdown, I don't think I ever would have changed it. But I stopped wearing makeup and I started saying, okay, so if I'm not going out, I won't put makeup on, and I'll just force myself to deal with my face. Until I reached a point where I just thought, why do I even care? Like, even if someone does look at me on the train and think, oh, she's horrendous to look at, what, like, I'm never going to see you again, why do I care? And once I took physical appearance off of that pedestal, it made me realise that there's so much more important things to life. It's so crazy to me that I cared so much about what I look like. Don't get me wrong, I still have massive insecurities. I still look at myself in the mirror sometimes and think, oh my god. But I used to look at myself sometimes and actually cry because I was so dissatisfied with what I looked like, and I always wanted to look like someone else. I think that's a dangerous thing as well, because the people that I'm looking at, like influencers or celebrities, they have all of this stuff on as well, like extensions and fake eyelashes and stuff, and granted they're still beautiful girls, but I'm comparing myself to something that off of social media is completely different to what I can see. Like these girls, they get home and they take all of it off as well, and I'm no one to say whether they're happy or not with their appearance, but I know that I want to be, and I don't want to keep relying on these things. Now I care so much more about taking care of what goes underneath all of that, like making sure that I keep up with my skincare, making sure I take care of my lashes, my nails, my hair, and actually appreciating what I have, like what my natural beauty is, and not just concealing it with things that make me feel better temporarily. The fifth thing I just kind of touched on, but it was to stop comparing myself to other people's social media. I feel like this is something that everybody does, no matter who you are, is to look at other people, especially on social media, and think, oh my god, I wish I had that, or I wish I looked like that. And I think when I stopped caring and I realised that people will look at my social media and think I'm like a certain way, people who don't know me especially would look and think I have no insecurities and I'm the most confident person ever, and it's just not true. But it did make me realise that the opinions and ideas I have like of these girls might not be true, and I don't want to look like I have confidence. I want to actually have it. And yeah, just once I stopped comparing myself to others and appreciated people's beauty rather than envying it or being jealous of it, it did make me happier, and it definitely pushed me further on my journey to like self-love and to genuinely being confident and to not lacking self-esteem anymore. The last thing, and I think this is one of the most important things because it was the biggest thing I've struggled with, was to break my codependency. Obviously it's difficult because I'm in a relationship, but I know that I need to be happy as an individual and be content with myself as an individual in order to bring happiness to my relationship. I can't be in a happy relationship if I am reliant on my partner. So I am still working on doing the things that I enjoy and dressing the way I want and liking the music that I like, and just genuinely being my own individual so that we can come together as individuals and then be in a happy relationship. More than anything, I just want to be happy as my own person and not have to rely on anyone else to maintain that. And I think everything that I've done has 100% helped me, because I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to a camera if it was a year or 2 years ago. There's no way I could let myself do that. I cared way too much about what other people thought. And as much as I'm still on the journey and I still have so much work to do, and I do still care about what other people think, and I still have moments and days where I hate myself entirely, but I've come very, very far, and I just want to be able to look back at myself and go, oh my god, like I have come so far from this video, or I have come so far from when I was in secondary school. I'm still learning how to make sure I can be a happy person, be confident, and approach every situation in my life with 100% assurance that I am in love or falling in love with myself. I just wanted to kind of talk about that and share my journey and like how I'm doing as well as I'm doing. I reached 300 subscribers, and that was like my goal for September, so I'm really, really happy with that. I really appreciate all the support. Like and comment on this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. It really does mean the world to me. But yeah, thank you so much guys. Bye.